very warm welcome to Encore. Coming up on the show today, we're peering into the future with techno master Jeff Mills as he becomes the subject of an art film that's being premiered here in Paris. We'll also be finding out how rubbish is the key to a musical future for some inventive child residents of Mumbai's enormous Dharavi slum. And if you're always telling your kids not to waste time on computer games, well, you might have to think again after you meet France's young professional gamers. First though, let's meet our guest. Hello there, Jeff.
Hello, hi.
Very nice to see you. Now, our viewers will probably know you as a techno DJ who's got a more arty side than most, I would say. Let's fill them in a little bit more. Jeff has been DJing for over 30 years now, but it's not all about the partying. He's also created futuristic soundtracks for films, including Fritz Lang's Metropolis, and he's collaborated several times on many different projects with people like Paris's Pompidou Centre. Now Jeff is the star of a film about him. It's not your classic biopic. Do take a look.
For too long, it had been too much music for now. It was capturing the moment for a little bit too long and not thinking about putting the future back into the music. Futurism.
Is this the...
There we go. That is taken from Man from Tomorrow by Jacqueline Co, with music and soundtrack that you composed yourself. That's
Yes,
right.
yes, that's right.
And there's a lot going on there, isn't there, for film studies students and art students. What did you mean in what you said about putting the future back into music?
Right. Well, the film is really filled with symbolism. I mean, it about things that we say and often not say in electronic music. And what I was talking about was perhaps maybe we don't spend enough time thinking about what we could do.
People being a bit complacent, doing the same old things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's very easy to feel like that because you're in a popular people business. But experimentation, innovation is most important, I think, for electronic music.
Well, and as you said, the film's incredibly symbolic and abstract. There's no speaking at all for the first 16 minutes, I counted. The title is Man from Tomorrow, like I mentioned. Do you feel like you were born in the wrong age? Or you'd like to whiz into the future, maybe?
Well, no. I mean, I was born in the early '60s. I mean, it's no. I think that in time, the older I get, the more I realize where my place might be, or where I could possibly be of use, for society, for people.
And that seems to be a very experimentational areas.
Yeah,
of your art.
I mean, the idea for me, I'm convinced that to keep trying is always the best. To keep exploring new things is always the best way.
Now, you also mentioned about your vision of the future in the film. You said how we might end up living on the moon. Now, personally, that all sounds a bit grey and maybe a little bit dull to me. But would you be perhaps DJing every day to liven it up?
Perhaps. I mean, it's feasible to think that we would take everything around us to the moon. So maybe it would not be as bleak as
we might imagine,
as we think. Yeah.
Maybe my imagination's just not quite as good as yours. Maybe you can imagine something more exciting. Now, let's talk about your DJing. I mentioned that you've been DJing for more than 30 years. Are you still sort of party DJing in the conventional sense?
I'm active. I'm still over 100 dates a year, and everything in between, and constantly recording between two studios and two cities, and connecting and laying over and all types of, I'm constantly in motion. Okay,
and you must get a very different buzz from DJing live from composing the music for a film or something like that.
It's different. It's normal to be in a room of 5,000 people, but not be with the people. Uh-huh. So there's a certain amount of isolation with it too, and this is what we were trying to show in this film. It's really more pointing towards what the DJ, what the producer thinks, not so much what he does, but the imagination that he uses in order to be able to create music.
Yeah, because I think people do just think it's just pressing play, isn't it?
It is, but you have to what this film is about why you're pressing this button as opposed to that one.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's
Definitely, it sounds like it would be fun partying with you in any case. A little bit different from other DJing experiences, perhaps. Let's just give our viewers a reminder then. Man from Tomorrow by Jacqueline Coe with Jeff's music will be shown at the Louvre as part of a special series of films about art on February the 2nd. It's the closing film of this festival. Jeff, we're going to move on to something much less high-tech than your kind of music now, so I hope you find this interesting. This report comes from the vast Dharavi slum in Mumbai in India, and many of the people living there scratch out a meagre living by picking rubbish to sell on to recyclers. Now, though, a very small group of the children who do live among the trash have found another use for the world's waste.
One final rehearsal for a performance in one of Mumbai's biggest music festivals. This is a band with a difference. The members all live in the city's vast Dharavi slum and play with the trash that lies around them.
Before, I used to love stealing, but I've left that life behind. I feel all of us are talented in some way or other, and we want the world to see that we're not just dirty kids. That's why we want to make Dharavi Rocks famous.
Out on the rubbish heaps of Dharavi is where they find their instruments. Instead of looking for scrap to sell to local recyclers, the boys look for sounds.
Everything makes a different noise, and that's what we're testing. When we play all these things together, it'll make music. Nothing in Dharavi goes to waste. We want to show the world that we can make music out of things they consider useless, that they throw away.
Vinod Shetty's NGO helps set up the band.
Each of these kids who have otherwise had their childhood taken away, and these kids, when they come into a band and they go on stage, they feel that they are being wanted, they are being loved, and they're being appreciated by the society, and they become stakeholders.
Today, they're performing at Mumbai's prestigious Nehru Centre, just a few kilometers from Dharavi, but in many ways a world away. How do you feel?
It's going to be amazing, and the air conditioning is so cold.
The kids take their places and the curtain rises to reveal a packed auditorium. Other children might get daunted, but Dharavi's drummer boys have lived through much worse. They round off yet another performance without missing a beat.
There we go, inspirational stuff. Jeff, what do you make of their story?
Well, ironically, this is how music started. It started from banging on, things.
That's true.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's just an indication that in order to be able to communicate, you find whatever you need to have to be able to do it.
So not that different from what you do in fundamental ways.
I just plug in the hunk of junk, and but it's the same. It's the same.
It's the human input that makes all the difference, isn't it?
That's the only thing that really counts. Yeah.
Well, here in France, there's a growing band of young people who are looking to their hobbies for a career. This is also an interesting one. They're getting to play video games for money, which is probably a dream for many a teenager out there. We've been to meet some of the emerging elite who've made it into their life.
Thousands come to watch their competitions. These young men are living their dream. They've turned their hobby into their job, playing video games professionally. Maxime Hébron is one of these stars. And now he even has his own sponsor.
It's still a bit strange, but if this goes on, I could get used to it. For now, it's quite an amusing experience.
The 21-year-old player is posing next to Bruce Granek, the world's champion of the renowned FIFA 13 game. A beginner like Maxime earns about 2,000 euros from various tournaments. Champions earn 10 times that much. To them, video games is a very serious matter. Maxime trains for 7 hours every day. His club recruited him because of his exceptional talent. Last year, he dropped out of law school to play full-time and not just for fun.
This won't necessarily go on for years, I have no illusions. But why not use this experience for a career change? It's possible. Many jobs were recently created in the electronic sport business.
The young man is part of a team. Only about 20 players like them live out of their passion in France. They have one goal: getting and staying at the top.
To us, it's a pleasure, so we don't get bored. We come up every day with new tactics to play as a team.
Their next target, qualifying for the World Championships in Los Angeles in March.
There we go. Jeff, computer games as a productive way to make a living. Is that something you predict for the future of the world?
Well, I mean, you never know where that may lead to, you know.
It certainly seems to be working out for these kids at the moment, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to end up with something very old-fashioned, but with a twist. Now, this is a Peruvian man called Pascual Mimbella, who's always loved painting the sea. Now he's creating oil paintings actually under the sea. It's quite a sight, so we will leave you with that. Thanks very much again to Jeff Mills for being with us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you in the studio. Thanks very much to you for watching as well. Remember, you can keep up with us on our social networks and me on Twitter at A Cat in Paris. Here's Pascual. See you soon.